will bring it to you. Also, if you were with us for the earlier transmission, and you could be right. You are right. It's Shi Zhiyong, Li Maosheng, and the world standard of 325 has actually not been achieved. I was just confusing myself by Mutlu's participation in the 62 kilo categories.
So Tom.
Yeah, Tom Goegebuer, nice young man. His interest when he's not weightlifting, he's a real computer whiz, this lad. From Belgium.
And he likes a beer or two as well.
Well, I don't know about that. You obviously do. 30 years of age, 6th in Europe this year, 125 in the snatch phase, followed by 150, 275, ranked 15th in the world. The B group earlier in the day. And the man who totaled up the most, 272 kilos. I'll tell you about that in a moment. Let's concentrate on Tom's opening effort of
118 kilos. Good start.
Nice.
It does very well actually, because he's had a long-standing disc problem. He's done well to get over it. Chose to use a lot of rehabilitation work, doing a lot of rehab on the muscles in the lower back, and it seems to have worked out well for him.
Yeah, really good to get that first one in. Annika Nemeth, the lady you can hear in the background, looks after the media aspects of the International Weightlifting Federation. She's conducting the English service of the public address, and I must say things are beginning to fall into place a lot more comfortably today. Tom Goegebuer, well, hopefully we'll see him in Europe in action. Chetnievo, 40 kilometers from Gdansk, first week of May next year, right on the Baltic Sea in springtime, live on Eurosport. Hopefully we'll have your company for that. He'll be inevitably a lot more competitive at European level than he would here up against the world's best, but always good to have earned your place in the A final and be able to challenge and put your mark against the world's best. I was going to tell you about the B group. I will do very shortly when I can work out how to pronounce the young man's name from Turkmenistan. We total up, as I said, 272. Had a successful snatch of 121 kilos. So we're already past that. It's right on the edge of that 4-meter platform. And I think he's just about got away with that.
That's a good fight there from Tom. The great thing, of course, now is that he you know, that was obviously right on his limit. A 2.5 kilo jump would definitely be too much, but he's got the luxury of being able to just take an extra kilo.
Weighed in at 61.02, so he's the light man of the class. He's got one more go. But fortunately for him, it's a weight that Tom wants as well. So 118 achieved, 123 achieved, now 126.
This is ambitious, though. Remember, he's wisely pulling the barbell towards the back of the platform. If you remember, he almost ran out of platform on that second attempt. So again, you see, learning from the previous attempt. This is a big ask, but he'll certainly give it his best. So just not quite enough height on the pull. I think he was being ambitious there. I think if I'd have been coaching, I'd have just gone up a kilo.
I think what was in his mind was the fact that because he got 125 in Europe in the spring, that he wanted to get at least one more kilo here at the World Championship. So I'm not going to, you know, he's a gutsy, good guy. Really can't be too critical of him. And there it is. Pity that Bazabayev couldn't have lifted 133. That would have been interesting. Pity that Angelov seems a shadow of his former self. But nonetheless, that was really enjoyable between the two Chinese lifters, and more of that, please, in the second half. 3 out of 3. And look at that, the top 3 men, well, they deserve to be there. Not a mistake.
Because when it was, if you notice, when it was East Germany, and you know, it wasn't westernized, being a weightlifter meant something, you got respect, there was some financial reward, there was the ability to travel abroad. They had a lot of very, very good weightlifters. Since the, since the wall came down,
the unification,
they're in a very similar situation to us now, because the motivation is not there. They don't need to become fantastic sports people to travel the world and to earn reasonable money. And this is one of the big factors, especially in a repetitive sport like weightlifting.
It's also a fact that there's far more choice for young boys, young women to look at the sort of sports that are available now, particularly the professional sports. Obviously, golf and tennis would be right at the top of that league. It's quite interesting to see that. I heard this morning that the bonuses for the England football team, if they were successful at the forthcoming World Cup next year, up to £350,000 a man.
I think that in that scenario, though, it almost kind of goes against the motivation, because if you take a young player and you give him everything before he's achieved his best, in some ways it can be quite demotivating, because he's got all the money he needs. I mean, it's like if you take a sport like boxing, you very rarely see any public schoolboys winning boxing matches, because it is a tough sport where you can get smashed around and even killed. It's always people that come from backgrounds where maybe they've got to work their way up.
Well, I think the only way I'd give the England football team that sort of bonus is if they win it. If they don't win it, they don't get a bonus.
Well, yeah, but the point is, does a £350,000 bonus when you're on over £100,000 a week? How motivational is that? It's 3 weeks' wages. I mean, I don't see how it's a motivation. And I think if you've already got enough money that money's not an issue anymore, then the only thing that's really going to motivate you is the love of the sport.
Well, here's a man who most definitely does love his sport. Very dedicated.
Hiya.
Now, 145 to open.
Yes, already succeeded on 145. And he's now on, I think he's on 148, but actually he's on 149. Couldn't quite see the colour of those smaller discs on the ends there. That's good.
It is good. He's just a kilo below where he was in Europe earlier in the year, so he's got a sort of similar approach to the clean and jerk as it was in the snatch phase. When he went 118, 123, 126, he was just looking to at least improve on his European marks for the season, and I think that's where he's headed in terms of the clean and jerk. Let's hope he makes it on this particular occasion. Early days in the clean and jerk phase.
Last attempt.
So Tom coming out, third and final attempt.
Yes, looked good on his second, actually. Looked comfortable with 149. So now taking 153. I don't think this is beyond him. I think he could do this.
This is 3 kilos up on what he did in Sofia last April. So this for 276 total. which would be a kilo more than his European mark for 2005. No.
Yes, he had to get that just right. That's a shame, because I think he was strength-wise. I think he could have done it.
Yeah, the 3 kilos would have sort of made up for the disappointment of missing the third snatch as well, at least giving him a better total. But you know, fair play. Gave it his best shot. Didn't quite come off. But at 30 years of age, still probably a couple of seasons, he may be thinking probably he could go to Beijing.
Yes, I think that's. I think if he wasn't intending to go to Beijing, he wouldn't be competing now.
Yeah,
I don't think he'd.
Well, like so many athletes these days, you have to make that decision. You can have a little rest after the Olympic Games, but the older you get, the shorter the rest seems to get, because you can't allow your condition to deteriorate so much that it's an impossible battle to get yourself back. But which is very good second day's competition we've had today. Some really good lifting in the women's division and in the men's competitions.